Hello, my name is Shakayla Alvarenga. I'm the Director of Public Programs here at the Mob Museum. Thank you for continuing to watch our Community Safety Forum virtual series. Concerns surrounding unemployment claims and fraud have become a pressing issue over the past few months. We talked to the state's lead workforce agency about it.
We are the folks that do job placement, training. We provide services to folks who have lost their jobs or are looking for jobs. We also have services for certain folks with disabilities to help them get back into the workforce. We have the Equal Rights Commission, so we investigate claims of discrimination. And at the moment, we're probably most well known for running the unemployment benefits program.
What were some of the challenges that the department faced when this pandemic began?
Sure. So the thing to understand about Dieter is that we're one of those agencies. Welfare is similar. That when the economic times are good, our staff and our programs get smaller because people are employed. So going into this year, Nevada was dealing with, it's hard to remember now, but we were dealing with record low unemployment claims. And so we had basically record low number of staff to deal with very few claims. So when the pandemic hit, it hit with a force that we've never seen before. We've certainly had high unemployment before, but we've never had the kind of immediate spike of unemployment requests and need for staffing right away. So that was the first thing, is that staffing-wise, this has been unlike anything we've seen before. Even if you think back to the Great Recession, that was actually months in the making. So we saw our unemployment claims rising over time, but it was month over month. So we could kind of keep up with the staffing to process those benefit requests. This was sudden and immediate. If you think back to the beginning of the pandemic, the casinos were closed for 2 months. So all of those folks were out and possibly eligible for unemployment benefits. So the system itself was just overwhelmed immediately with hundreds of thousands of benefits. We've had over 1 million people file for initial claims, so to start unemployment benefits. That's a number that's never been envisioned before.
Hundreds of bogus unemployment claims have been filed too, so I can imagine that this was yet another challenge on top of what has already happened. So how is this type of fraud spotted?
We have a lot of cases that we have indications that they could be fraudulent, especially in the pandemic unemployment assistance. And we know a lot of them are fraudulent, but there are some people who are legitimately eligible that are caught with those markers on their files. So we're using, we're just ramping up use of ID.me, which is a third-party vendor that can verify identity. So it's we're offering that to more folks in the PUA system to say, you can use this vendor. They will validate your identity and let us know that it's been verified, and then we can move you forward in the system. You don't have to use it, but it's a sort of way to take that step out of the process from the state's perspective and move forward. So that, I think, is going to really help us with the cases where we're trying to sort out which are fraudulent and which are real Nevadans who are definitely eligible for benefits.
Why do you think Nevada's jobless situation remains among the worst in the nation?
I think Nevada has historically had a little bit of a boom and bust economy with mining and then gaming. There used to be this idea that gaming was recession proof, but the last recession proved that to be wrong. So I think just the sort of our mix in employment makes us vulnerable to sort of these economic disruptions. I was just on in another meeting for economic development, and one of the economists was noting that after the last recession, Northern Nevada really invested in diversifying its economy and expanding into tech jobs and advanced manufacturing. And so they saw a little bit less of an impact, although everybody was impacted by the pandemic. And while Las Vegas returned to its sort of what it's known for, which is hospitality, so they were more heavily impacted. So I think that is, these are choices and investments that Nevada makes, and Northern Nevada got itself in a position to be able to weather this crisis a little bit better than Las Vegas. And, you know, just the casinos being closed for any amount of time is just so unprecedented in the history of our state that it's going to take us a while to sort of recover from that. And I think it's a question for policymakers as we go forward. What kind of investments can we make in diversifying our economy to give ourselves a little bit less of a boom and bust economy? So that, I think, is we'll see a lot of discussion around that question going forward.
From an operational standpoint, what do you think can be done in the future to better mediate these types of problems?
For me, I'm looking at what's a better mix of technological approaches and staffing approaches. One example is Nevada is one of maybe a dozen states that don't have a chat bot that can help people go through the unemployment process. I'm not going to say it would be fairly easy to add that, because I've learned nothing is fairly easy here. It's all very complicated and we have to follow all the federal rules. But certainly that's a technology that we can bring on that can be responsive. You can program in, if Congress passes, and I hope they don't, but if Congress passes yet a third kind or a fourth kind of unemployment program, you could pretty easily at least be providing people information. So that I'm looking at what's the better mix of technology and staffing that will allow us to scale up and down as we go forward. And that way, whatever the future brings, we're better able to handle it. For folks who are interested in the services that we also offer, helping folks get jobs or training or licenses or work cards or equipment that they need to go back to work, the nevadaworkforce.com is probably the best place to start. Like I said, we do have a lot of services that aren't so much in the spotlight right at the moment, but they are going to become more important as our economy comes back and people are trying to connect with jobs.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the Mob Museum soon.